right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. December 8th, 2021. Welcome to the Morning Brew. This is Angel, your host. All right, guys. A lot to cover here. A lot to cover. Let's see what's going down. Let's see what's going down. So the market's recovered pretty nicely today or yesterday. So let's see what's going down in the news here. So I'm going to share here a couple of things here with you, if I can. Oh, here we go. Share. Okay, screen two. Here we go. So right now, right off the bat, the news that I see for today. This is in Barron's real quick. Pfizer says 3 doses of its vaccine is effective against Omicron. So let's see. This is, again, whether you believe in the vaccines or not, but if you want to make money today, let's see if this piece of news is going to move the vaccine stocks. It looks like it could. I see BioNTech moving pre-market, so that could possibly move. Okay, and that would be a big move. So we're going to look into that. Okay, what else did I see right off the bat? This is biotech battle COVID. Why the sector is doing horribly. Okay. All right, so this is, again, I saw a podcast yesterday where they said, always ask, so what is the narrative of the news? And don't really believe it. And I agree with that. So two opposing, yesterday there was a piece of article that came out that Apple stock reported that they were asking their what the hell am I looking for? Their partners to ramp up production because they wanted to ramp up iPhone sales, right? And then today it's saying that that's not true, that the production was shortfall. Anyway, the bottom line in between, so I'm reading in between the lines, it says that there is a demand for iPhones. They just can't really have, they're not producing them, enough of them. But there is demand. So Apple on that news, it looks like it's pulling back a little bit. So again, that 171 is pretty hard. It had a hell of a run, and we're going to dive into that just in a bit. All right, so other than that, there's not really anything that I see. Okay, Americans here to retire. That won't stop the rally. Nothing really new that I see here. Now, the one thing that we do have to consider is that we had a hell of a rally. And as I dive into it here a little bit, and we bounce. This is the XPX, this is the NDX, this is the Russell, guys. So we bounce here off the 50-day moving average. We bounce beautifully. Now, the question today that we're going to have is are we going to give it back? Are we going to give it back? Are we going to continue higher? Now, tomorrow, Fedman Powell speaks tomorrow. So Powell speaks tomorrow. So what is he going to say? He can say anything and bring it back down. Now we all know there is an inflation issue. He stated it. He also speaks next Wednesday. We also have the XPX roll week starting tomorrow, I believe. Okay. So my thinking is this: if we're at all-time highs, right, and all the Nasdaq, the XPX, Nasdaq, and the Russell's not all-time highs, right? The Russell's weaker. But we had a nice recovery from both the XPX and Nasdaq. Okay. If we're at all-time highs, is he going to say, yeah, we're going to start tapering a lot sooner than faster, and then the market's going to sell off? But we're at all-time highs, so it can absorb the sell-off, right? That's my thinking. So my thinking is if we're not at all-time highs, then I'm thinking that he would delay the taper because, the market won't absorb the sell-off. So, again, if we're high enough, right, he says we start to taper early and then we sell off. So, anyway, things to think about, especially if you're day trading. You don't want to get caught in that if that happens. You don't want to get caught in that. And we'll see it beforehand. But we had a nice recovery on all of them. Now, how are we going to know? Now, what I love about the MACDs, now here's the MACD. We bounced off a zero. That's beautiful. That's not bearish. Bounced off a zero. Didn't bounce here, so we broke through, right? We broke through the 50 and broke through zero here, so this is why we knew we were going down. Now, we're not out of the woods yet because we haven't crossed yet. So if we cross, right here, it's going to be a pinnacle. Now, if we go lower, then that means that we're going to bounce and go lower right here, and then we are at the risk of going to zero. If we bounce and cross, then there is a strong chance that we could probably linger in this area right here for the XPX. Same as the index, the tech. We bounce off 50, and then if we bounce off a zero here and go lower and break zero, then that means we're probably going to go lower, and then we're going to be at risk of breaking the 50. XPX is much closer, so if we bounce off a zero, if the blue line bounces off the white line, crosses zero, which is here, then we're probably going to break 50 and go lower. So again, next couple of weeks, I think we'll know by the end of this week where we end up. Now, the Russell, this is a 200-day moving average on the Russell. We couldn't break below that. So again, they sold it off right till there. If it can get through, then that's much positive. We're probably going to cross right here and go a little bit higher. And then we have the 50-day moving average on the Russell. Now, 50 days 22.96, and the other one is 22.59. Okay, right off the bat. So those are two things we're going to consider. There is a couple of movers that I'm looking at today that I think that we can probably make some money on, and we're going to be looking at those. All right, next one, the VIX. So fear has died off, right? So fear has died off. We saw that. I saw a report at Goldman Sachs saying that it was the most selling they saw this last couple of weeks since 2020, since the COVID sell-off. Okay, so that means that the market absorbed a lot of news in the last couple of weeks. So that's a positive news. That's a positive note. Okay, so the VIX is here. If the VIX goes lower, that means that fear is dissipating. People are buying less puts, and then it looks like, we can probably even linger. The main thing with the market, we want to make sure that we don't give it back. Okay, if we give it back today, then this wasn't real, but we're going to be watching. But the VIX is here, 21. Where we would like the VIX, if it can go below 18, then we're in a sweet spot to go higher. Okay, the Treasury Notes. The Treasury Notes are nice. This is great for tech. We're right here. The market likes it right here. Anything above 1.7, I think that the market's going to have a reaction. So let's see. Okay. All right. So that's where we're at. So if we're looking for plays, we're going to look for follow through on any stock that you're doing. As far as a short term, there is some information here. So now this is the day trading system here, guys. So if we're going to go in, if you can tell, the XPX is a little bit far out, right? We're far out. We need to probably come back to the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average, which is right now is currently sitting at 46.43. If I to go to right here, this is now we're looking at from the hourly perspective, right? This is the XPX. If the XPX pulls back, and I think it probably will pull back at some moment to the 50-day moving average on the hourlies, because we're overextended. We're probably got a little bit more juice, but it looks like it's probably going to pull back. And again, we're right nibbling. 46.73 was the highs of last week, and we're right below that 4,700. So we rallied quite a bit. Okay, we're above the 50. I think it's probably going to pull back here to 46.43, 46.50. For a nice setup, and then what happens there, we're going to find out. Does it bounce? Does it go through? And that's going to be a signal to us whether we're going to rally or give it back. Okay, so right there, NASDAQ, again pulling back, probably going to come back to that 16,073, and that's going to look pretty good. But it looks good. MACDs are pulling back on the XPX and then the NDX. If it can come back, bounce off zero, bounce off a zero, and bounce off the 50, then that probably be a good entry for the upside. Russell is pulling back, and the same thing with Russell. Now, Russell got sold off pretty hard. Now, if you want to trade these things, you got the XPY, you got the QQQs, and you have the IWM, right? That's Russell. So if it pulls back here, hits the 50, bounces off a zero, then that might be a good entry for the upside, okay? Now, that's for the upside. And that might be where you want to make sure that the MACDs cross, and this tells us that that's going to be a new momentum swing up. Google, again, doing well, recovering really, really nicely. Now, I know Google is going to be hard around that 3,000 area. So is it going to go up to 3,000? maybe. We don't have a proper setup here. The proper setup on Google was 2 days ago, right here, when it bounced off of 50, bounced off of 0. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. So right there, we're hoping this is going to look here and here and here for this to continue higher. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. Right now, we really don't have a setup on Google. It looks like it might rally here, but it's too far away from the 50, and it's probably going to go to 3,000. Now, Amazon, this is what we do not want to see. Now, Amazon could recover because we're still in pre-market. Amazon is right there, right? It recovered nicely, right? We had the move 2 days ago, right there. That's the move that we look for. This is how we like to trade. And now it looks like it's probably going to fail, right? If the MACD start breaking below 0, starts breaking down, then this is probably going to go down to here, 34.66, bounce back up, maybe a dead cat bounce and bounce lower. So Amazon's weaker. We had a nice rally, I suspected. Now, this could recover if the MACDs turn, and we still got about another hour or so, 45 minutes. If this turns, bounces, then it could probably start going higher. And on the upside, you got that. Let me see if I can zoom in here. We have that 35.50, right? And it can go a little bit higher. Tesla came out with great numbers, right? Their deliveries were amazing. So, is Tesla going to go? Had a price target of 1,500. So, is Tesla going to go? Now, I'm going to share something here with Tesla. Tesla, as I said a couple of days ago, I like Tesla below 1,000. Tesla spent I think it was only an hour below 1,000, and it came back up. Okay, so Tesla looks much stronger. And if you're a stock buyer in Tesla, this is where, again, same system, 50-day moving average, and it got bought at the 50-day moving average. Now, the MACDs are going to move slower in this time frame. Okay, so they're going to move a lot slower. But if this starts bouncing off 0, start going, then they're going to start buying Tesla. Now, there is one caveat on Tesla. Elon is not done selling. Okay, so same principle with as I said to you, same principle as the Fed. You know, he's going to want to sell into strength, you know, when people are buying it, because then it won't affect the stock price as much. So what does that mean? That means that Tesla's not going to skyrocket as much as we would like it to, but it's still going to move. So as a trade, right, we see Tesla moving, right? Now, this is a little bit different because there is some headwinds right here. As you can see, it sold off yesterday at 10.58. Pre-market, tried to go 10.62. They sold it off. Now, if this thing bounces off the 50, comes back down and bounces off 0 and takes out at 10.52, then it's probably going to go, right? Let's see if it goes today. If it goes today, it's got a nice target up here. Nice target. And the target's going to be 10.90. Okay, that's 10.90. That's 40 points, roughly. Okay, so that could be a setup for today. I'm going to be watching that, and we're going to be setting that one up, as well as these three up here, or two. ISRG, same type of thing. ISRG got sold off pretty hard, and I said this yesterday as a stock trade, right? Because ISRG got sold off pretty hard, guys. So again, now I'm showing you the daily for a reason, right? Because it's got sold off pretty hard. MACDs, as you told you, there was a swing down. Is it coming to the end? And if we break 50, if we break the 50-day moving average on the dailies, which is 342, and we start crossing, that could be another swing higher. And it's probably going to go to the highs of 368, maybe 364. Okay, there's some headwinds up there. I'm not going to say they're not. There is. 349 is another one. We're at 340. So, again, if you want to take that trade there, that is on the hourlies, same type of thing. Okay, so again, if you look in the hourlies, MACDs, let it come back down, and again, look for your time frame that you're doing. To answer your question, good morning, guys. Let's see if I can. what time periods are used to the MACDs? It's the regular MACDs, very slim. The ones that you just put in, I don't change them. All right, so now that's Tesla. All right, so I mean that's ISRG. All right, so let me get out of here. And now, as far as the trade for today, right? For today, because I'm looking at the 15, but I wanted to show stock traders that was one that I was looking at. ISRG moved quite a bit yesterday, right? So this was the setup yesterday. Now, this wasn't ideal the way we like to trade, but again, when the MACD start turning, like right here, it's above zero, number one, and it starts telling me momentum, and it broke above the highs of the previous days, then this is a nice entry, right? Real simple, but this was an entry to the upside. Doesn't move that much, but again, if you're looking for something as an entry now, are we going to get in now? No, the MACDs are turning down, so not really a good entry. MACDs are still coming down. Let it pull back to the 50-day moving average, and then we'll see. Chipotle, congratulations on Chipotle. We've been setting this one up. This one has been sold off quite a bit. This one worked out well for us yesterday, and this is what I was talking about. Not the most ideal, but the reason being why this worked is because we saw this sell off. We were looking for a basing pattern. We got the basing pattern 1, 2, 3 days, and again, right here, and then right here, boom, broke the previous day's highs, gapped up, and you got a fresh set of MACDs. This was going to go, and it went, okay? Now, don't worry, there'll be other. It looks like it's going to open pre-market a little bit higher. That's okay. That's okay. So I don't think that's going to fail. It looks like it probably wants to come back down, but it could break through. But I don't like taking those trades there because right now it's unknown territory, right? The MACDs are going down. The thing that I always say here, if the MACDs are going down, do not buy calls, right? Don't buy calls. You can sell calls, but don't buy calls if we're going down. I want to see a basing pattern. I want to see a bounce. I want to see this thing set up properly for us to, risk our dollars to make some money. Right now, I don't like it. There's other better plays out there. Land Research. This one took off. This one recovered nicely. 700. It hit our price target that we've been trading this for over the weeks. Let it pull back. Now it's right there. It's coming down. If it can bounce off of here and break through, this is probably going to run. Shopify looks good. Looks really, really good. Again, Shopify got sold off pretty hard. These guys did $2 billion in sales after Black Friday, and it got sold off. So they're finally went back into it. If this thing rallies back down, bounces off zero, bounces off the 50, it can probably start running. Headwind up here is going to be 1538. This looks like a nice setup. If it starts breaking down, no go. The setup is not good. But if it bounces, this thing has 1538, 1560, 1630. Doesn't mean it's going to get there all in one day. Don't know, but this thing can run 100 points pretty easy. Netflix. Netflix looks good. Let it bounce. It rallied quite nicely yesterday. Okay. But let's see. It's got some headwinds at that 626. Now, if it bounces here, and take out that 626 and 630 can really get it going. Okay. 630 can really get it going. And then you have 655. That's going to be on Netflix. Okay. Roku looks like it's dying now. So Roku, this is what I mean by Roku. It's below the zero, and this time frame broke the 50. Doesn't look good. Right now, 216 is going to be hard. Doesn't look good, right? It looks like it's probably going to sell off. This thing rallied quite nicely with the rest of the market, but let's see. Let's see if it can recover that 216. NVIDIA, same type of thing. NVIDIA looking weaker. If it can recover that 322. Now you have to be careful here, guys, and this is what I mean. We rallied off of 300 to 320. It's about 20 points. Right now, this is FOMO territory, right? We're seeing pre-market. They're selling it off at 323. We don't chase. Let it base. Let it pull back. Let it do its thing. Let's see how it reacts to that 50-day, because this is the part where people who missed out the trade are going to get into it, and then it's going to sell off. It happens over and over and over again. Don't get caught in that. Just wait for the proper setup. Mercado Libre. Okay, this one took off. This is beautiful. This is another one we set up. This one worked out like gangbusters. Why? Because it sold off pretty hard. This is a beauty. Now, this rallied quite nicely. This did the same thing. Gapped up, and we had a fresh set of MACDs and went a little bit higher. I'm not going to get into this trade right now. Why? MACDs are going lower. We don't do that. Let it come back, set up. It is going to set up at some moment of time. Just wait, be patient. Apple. MACDs are going lower. Can Apple recoup, right? And can it bounce? Can it bounce here, bounce off to 50, and go higher? There might be a setup there on Apple. Now, Apple doesn't move that much, but it's very, very liquid, and you're at the highs. You're at the highs of Apple, 170, 171. So if Apple breaks down, then the XPX is probably going to pull back. So watch Apple right now. There's some headwinds right at 173, but we're at the highs of Apple. Now, there is a price target on Apple, 200. KB Hubert, I think her name is. Yes, she's the analyst for Apple. 200, that was a price target. Does it move on that target? I don't know. Trade Desk, looking better, but it looks like we're right there. Again, if it can turn, bounce, take out the previous eight size of 96, and then 97 is probably going to go. Okay. It's got some headwind. There's headwinds around that 100 area, so be careful there. But if it goes, you got 106. Again, it's under $100 stock, but that's a nice move. It looks like it can run. Let's see what happens. If it breaks through, then the whole market, we're probably going to pull back. All right, let's look here. Goldman Sachs, higher. Try to go this morning. That 400 area is going to be pretty hard. Let's see. If the banks go up, then that means that we're not going to sell off on the XPX. So we're looking at Goldman Sachs and Apple, and these are the two that more likely are going to run. Now, same thing. What's going to happen now? Is it going to break down or start breaking higher? So right now, we don't know. Affirm rallied nicely. Okay, so this one got sold off pretty hard as well, even though I didn't understand it. But they're bringing it back up, probably because Upstart got the upgrade, and Upstart is the same. It's a competitor, so it's going up. But right now, are they going to take it down or bring it back up again? This thing rallied quite nicely. We don't know. So if the MACD start turning, break below zero, they're taking it down, and more likely can go to 115. Same as Upstart. If it breaks down, it's probably going to go to 181. Now, on the upside, if it starts rallying, you got 132 on Affirm. If you start rallying, you have, If it starts rallying, you got 209 on Upstart. 209, okay? HubSpot. Again, this rallied nicely, went up, but the MACDs are pulling back. So this could be setting up nicely. It's coming back. Could be setting up nicely. If it pulls back to the 50, start breaking up higher. You got 772 on top, 797, 823. That looks good. Zoom, not a play here, right? So let's move on. 188. It broke through. Don't get caught. Let it recoup 188. Bookings. All right. This one, I'm waiting for a setup. Okay. So this one, we another setup that we caught. Again, another one that sold off pretty hard. And we saw the basing pattern broke out and we took advantage of it. Now, it didn't do anything yesterday, right? And usually these are the moves that happens when it moved almost 100 points, guys. So when it moves, it goes sideways. Try to go. But again, it's probably going to base. Let's see what happens here. It's trying to go. But again, it needs to take out that 2296. It's a round number, 2300. So we're really close to that. That's the one concern I have. If we can break through, then more likely we can start running. But it's a round number. Don't know. Now that vaccine, what we have on top is 2352. So don't worry, there'll be plenty of time to get there. We're going to watch it. So I'm going to watch it, set alerts here. This could run and see if that 2300 gets taken out. I think the vaccine information is probably going to help out the travel stocks. ServiceNow, they rallied this one up. This was nice. Now, this had a huge rally. Let it pull back. Let's see how it sets up that 642. And then let's see if it can bounce here. And then we're probably going to get into that one. That looks like a setup. All right. Coinbase, again, rally nicely. We're below the 50. So we're probably not going to be looking at it. It's at 283 below here. So let's move on. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the chips. It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes. These are the chip sector. The chips rally quite nicely. And now the chips, again, INTU is pulling back. So let it pull back, right? MACDs are coming down. So let's see. It's up and the MACDs are coming down. That's called a divergence. Don't like the trade. We're too far away from the 50. Qualcomm rally nicely. And can Qualcomm recoup that 184? We're getting close. Or is it going to sell off, right? To get it going, 184. If it can get that 184, break that 184, it can rally maybe 200. ASML pulling back. So we're seeing the same kind of patterns on all the chips here, pulling back. AMD pulling back. So all of these need to recoup the 144. ASML needs to pull back. Let's see how it reacts at that 800 level. And can it bounce? Okay. AMAT rally nicely. But again, let's see how it reacts to that 50. And I'm moving. Can this bounce? That's another one you can set up there. Lucid just can't really. Lucid has some lawsuit pendings, some lawsuits. So I don't know what the deal is with Lucid right now, but they're taking down the stock. They're taking it down. Now, if you want to trade this to the downside, you can. Again, we're at the 50. If the MACD starts turning, this can go lower. 41, and then you got 38 on Lucid. Rivian, that 122 is hard. That 122 right there is super, super hard on Rivian. Okay, so we're really close to that, 115. It's trying to go. Let's see what happens. Not really ideal, but if you really want to trade this, 116 to get a better on top. That has 122. Roblex below the 50. Okay, so again, we'll see. We'll see. This is working its way lower. So 116. Are they going to take this one back down? 115. Then you got 107. We'll see. All right, let's go into Bitcoin. Let's go into Bitcoin. Bitcoin again. MACDs are still working. Again, MACDs show me weakness. We had one layer, even though it went up. That's called divergence. We had a second layer, which is right here. And then it tried to rally a little bit. And this is the third layer. So Bitcoin, let the MACDs turn. Let it base. Don't chase. If you like Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, there's some buyers at that 42 area. Let's see. My VWAP, my anchored WAP is 47,718. Let's see. To make it better, I'm gonna give you the upside right here. If it can take out 52, then it might be an upside movement. But we're below the 50-day moving average. Just be careful here on Bitcoin. They're taking it down. MicroStrategy is still going down. Same with Bitcoin. Now, the one that's a little bit stronger is Ethereum. Ethereum is much, much stronger. It's below the 50-day moving average. I told you we're going to find out what's going to happen. It's holding on strong. It's right there. It's holding down strong. If this can rally, breaking the 50, then we're probably going to go up to these highs right here. Now, there is a lot of, I call these antennas selling pressure. There's a lot of selling pressure right up here. 47, 46. But there's also a lot of buying pressure here. So we'll see what's going to happen. But something's going to happen pretty soon on these things. All right. And again, I think if Powell speaks and the market's high, then we could possibly have one of those sell-offs, right? So if Powell speaks, we sell off. If we're high, because the news came out that there is inflation. Inflation's pretty hot. They need to do something drastic. So I think that they're probably gonna put the markets up and then release. All right, guys. Any questions here? Good morning, Doc. How you doing? All right. Good morning. Good morning. All right, guys. It is about 9 o'clock right now. Thank you guys for joining in, and again, gave you some time here to set up some proper trades. The ones I'm gonna be looking at, I told you, is going to be looking for these two right here, the XPX, the Russell. What else? I'm looking at Tesla. Oh, the one that I forgot is this one. B BNTX, BioNTech. Okay, this is a vaccine play based on the news that we read. Now, I forgot because I don't really follow this. Now we're pretty far away from the 50. This could probably rally, but there's some headwinds at 317. This rally pre-market on the news. This is what I mean. From 292 to 317, it could rally more. I would like this to pull back a little bit. Let it pull back. It could rally. It's just too far away for me to get into that trade. Maybe another time frames here. We can look at it. But right now, okay, if you're looking at it from the 50 perspective, right there, could have a second win there. But again, how far is it going to go? We'll see. Maybe 344. 344. All right. So that's that. All right, guys, go out there, go get it, and we'll see you at lunch. At lunch, I will be at TradingView, and that would be here at TradingView. So if you go on the YouTube link, it will be the link on top. Let me see if I can find it. It'll be linked right there, and I'll be at 12 o'clock. All right, guys, go out there, go get it, and we'll see you tomorrow. Stay green.